Starting up any company can be challenging, and when you're in the medical device arena, it can be even more challenging because of the regulatory framework that you will need to follow throughout the process. This short video will just take you through what I think are the first steps that you might need to take. So, as a startup, you've probably not got a lot of people working with you, one or two, that's quite normal. And you'll have a lot of people coming to you with items that you need to be doing at some point. So they might be saying, have you got a quality system? You know, you do know you need to follow 13485. What about risk management? That's 14971. What about all your regulatory work? What about your technical documentation? What about designing your clinical prototypes? What about getting an office? What about getting a website? Um, and there's a lot of items there. And, for the best of us, I can only work on two, three items in parallel together. And I like to follow that as a rule. So the rule of three. So which three am I going to choose? Items are important, but they're not important right now. If I was starting up a medical device company, I would look at defining what my business model is going to be. I would definitely be checking my market assumptions to make sure that the product I'm going to develop has a market. And I would definitely be looking at enhancing my clinical statements or my clinical claims. Rule of three. So define the business model. What do I mean by that? So you're going to work in a certain way, and your business could be that you're going to recruit lots of people, and those people are going to help you design, make, and eventually sell the product. But that means you're going to have a lot of fixed overhead from day one, and fixed overhead means cost. That means you're going to have to generate more cash or get more cash from investors to deliver your product. The model that I would kind of recommend, certainly on early stages, is one where you use outsource partners that have got experience in the medical device arena and bringing in contract internal resource. And the reason for that is that you only pay these people for the work that you want to get done. And later on, if you've got contract resources, you can always migrate them to permanent. So you can use them for contract work throughout. So you can have someone like a project engineer or quality and regulatory affairs. And you could say, well, initially it's going to be on and off type of work. It's going to be a contract. But later on, I am going to need those type of people on my full-time staff. So the advantage of using a professional outsourced company, although it may seem more costly initially, is that you get it done right first time. So because they have experience of doing medical devices, they will take into account a lot of the regulatory requirements and also come up with different ways of achieving your end goal. Second point, professional market analysis. Now, I'm sure that you've done a lot of market analysis yourself and you've looked on the internet, you've spoken to people, and you've gained a certain amount of information. But having a professional check that early on means that costly mistakes won't be made. For example, if they check what your customers are willing to pay, it avoids having a product developed that is too expensive to sell at the end of the game. Or if your volumes are not there, or if your go to market strategy is incorrect, that means your regulatory is going to have to change. The third thing that I'd say is probably worth doing now is putting some clinical proof around your claims. So, what I mean by that is go out and seek a clinical um, a clinical partner, so someone in that field that would support your product, who's already working in the field, maybe as um, a consultant or a clinician or anybody in a hospital that has got clinical experience that can support your findings. The second thing is you might want to look at predicate devices, so similar devices, and see what how they've proved their product and also what your product delivers differently and how you could prove that aspect of your design. I've grouped the other stuff down in the corner because it's, however you play it, you're going to need regulatory, you're going to need quality, and you're going to need risk management. But at this point, you probably don't need that. What you need to do is just get these three in and then choose the next one and pull it in. If you can, stick to the rule of three. You can't do everything. So, like I said before, everything I listed on the front slide and more, you're going to have to do. But as you can't do everything, put them on a wall, put them on Excel, put them on whatever format you like, and prioritize them. Prioritize them in respect to, are they important and are they important right now? And stick to that rule. Hope that this video has been of some help. And if you'd like to learn a little bit more, please contact myself or any of my colleagues at kickstartmedical.co.uk.